Those two heroes that we were talking about. A guy in Pennsylvania named Sean Moyer just got a new kidney because of his prom date. His prom date that he went out with 35 years ago, heard through a mutual friend. Her name is Elena Hershey. She lives in Colorado. He still lives in Pennsylvania, where they were from. She went to prom with him in 1989 after the girl he was going to go with dumped him just before the prom. She decided to go with him as friends, and the two went together. Then, now, 35 years later, a mutual friend told her, you remember Sean?
I do.
Needs a kidney. And she signed up and gave him a kidney. Now, I read this. I read the headline. Woman donates kidney to prom
date, yeah.
Well, then I read the whole article. I didn't just skim this. Usually I just skim.
Oh, yeah, you're the skimmer.
You know that. I'm the skimmer. Exactly. And I heard him talking about it. They had the guy, this is the guy in Pennsylvania who got the kidney.
I knew Elena from 35 years ago. She was my prom date, yes. She was a remarkably nice person. She was pretty and she was smart. I got a call and they said that a kidney has become available and it was a very good match.
So everything's like, oh my gosh, this is great. Well, really what she did was she tried to match him and didn't. But her name was on the kidney registry, and because she tried to match him, for whatever reason, it moved him up a few notches on the registry. And they found, and she donated her kidney to somebody else, somebody she didn't know. And
she went through with it.
She went through with it to somebody else that she did not know. Even though she didn't match with this guy, she registered. And then she thought, well, I'll give to just an anonymous person, and then hopefully my friend from 35 years ago will get a kidney as well. She did it. 6 months later, he got his also. But he didn't get hers. So I poo-pooed the
So you don't get the true Hollywood ending.
Right. I poo-pooed it. I was like, this is not what the headline said. The headline read, man gets kidney thanks to prom date from 35 years ago.
Well, it's perfectly worded. What they did was they got you with the tease.
They hooked me right in.
Mm-hmm.
See, good teases get me. They always do that, I'll tell you what else. Last night I was watching the CBS Evening News. She was like, coming up next, this date in history. I was like, all right, I'm in.
I'm not moving.
I'm not, and I didn't. I stayed right.
This date in history?
Stayed right with.
Do you remember what it was?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not hard. That's can be tough to find in the internet. This day in history.
They must have actually shockingly been out of news.
They were. Oh, Jerika Duncan. She's like, stay right where you are. This date in history is next. I was like, all right, I'll take it. And this date in 1896, Tootsie Roll goes on sale. Penny a roll. 1 cent for a Tootsie Roll in 1896.
Do you know how big they were then, the original Tootsie Roll?
No, it did not go past surface level.
I wonder if it was like the thumb side, the mini.
Is it?
Or the standard kind of, what is that, about 2 inches long?
Was the original Tootsie Roll...
That's probably the original, the stick.
Larger. I think so, too.
Because they call the smaller ones midgets or midgies.
And do you think...
I think we stopped calling them midgets.
They were midgets until the 90s. Then I was, all right, let's call them
midgies.
All right, let's call them midgies now, That's right. Do you think so? The original, that's a penny for one that's like 2 to 3 inches long.
Penny candy.
Yeah.
Good deal. That's
Truly.
That's a good deal.
You chew on it for a while.
I bet back then, though, nobody would hate them at first. Look like a turd.
You think?
I ain't eating no turd, you fool.
I think they're delicious. Sometimes at Halloween, they come up as like candies people don't like Dum-Dums and stuff. But I love them.
Love a Tootsie Roll.
I think that's a great consistency, too.
And you can get, if you go to Cracker Barrel, you can get one that's 1.5 feet long.
God darn dang, I've done it. I'll tell you that. And you know what I did? Of course, I'd tell my parents, it'll last me a week. Well, I had that thing done.
No.
And by the time we were home, I had the thing eaten. Huge, great Tootsie Roll. Agreed. Segmented up like that.
Yep.
Also, the date that we raised that flag on Iwo Jima, 1945.
Oh, yeah.
You know the flag?
Suribachi.
Yeah.
That's much more important than the Tootsie Roll.
Wow. Yeah,
you led with the Tootsie Roll?
That was a tease. It was that that famous photo.
Of course.
Yes.
That was,
who doesn't? Well, besides your kids.
That was
I didn't learn that
They
anymore.
wouldn't know. They wouldn't know that. No, they would not. So I was glad I stuck around. I was like, all right, I'll take this. Okay.
You know, remember the book that spawned, Flags of Our Fathers?
And movie.
Yeah.
And the movie.
Clint Eastwood.
I think I have read, I can't remember, because I read the book and it was spellbinding. And I saw the movie and it was spellbinding. It was fantastic. But I think I have read that the memories were, that the identity wasn't clear. That the person who wrote the book swears that his father was one of the people in the famous photograph.
And maybe he was not.
Turns out that I don't think that he was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. But yet still, it's such a great story.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the story's incredible. The way they raised that, they raised the flag, and somebody caught just the perfect picture. And of course,
Yeah.
now it's a statue and everything.
And they
It's
were just,
incredible.
I mean, because that was the second flag, right?
Yeah.
I think they'd raised a taller flag earlier in the day, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, I believe you're
can't
right.
remember the timeline.
Yeah, I think that's right.
But they just did that one again, and the fighting continued for a month.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the battle was not over.
And wasn't it sort of impromptu? They just did it,
Yep.
you know, and somebody caught that picture, and it became
Yeah.
the photograph.
You think as they were doing that, somebody was like, you know, on this day in 1896, the Tootsie Roll.
They just put up the flag having a
Yeah.
smoke.
You guys want to?
Carl, help!
I had this date in history for you.
Yeah.
On this day,
It's in my ration, Sergeant.
Yeah.
You want one?
49 years ago, the Tootsie Roll came right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good candy for a World War II soldier. I would
Yeah,
say,
probably
you know.
keeps
I'm
well.
sure it was, yeah.
Exactly. The other hero here today is a teenager. I had to read deep into this one too. There's a guy
It's
named.
not like you. You all right?
I know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, there's this green room reading.
Yeah, I had a lot of time to kill, so I did some green room reading. Boy, I did a lot, man. I planned out.
We spent a lot of time in green rooms
Green
backstage for the past month.
planned a lot of vacations, did some documentation and such. You know, wrote some put up or shut up rock and roll trivia. There was a lot going on there.
Yep.
This all of this.
Fun.
Anyhow, there was comedy going on all around me. I didn't want to take part in it. I was back in the back. So a father and son in Utah were reported overdue hiking in Utah a week ago. They were in the Red Mountain area of Snow Canyon State Park and got lost. They were supposed to be out there for 3 hours. They were there for 22, and the weather was unbelievably cold.
A 3-hour tour.
3-hour tour. So Julian Hernandez and his 12-year-old son were reported missing. And when they were found after 22 hours, they were in pretty good health because they had discovered a backpack that was just out in the wood. They were walking, and there was the backpack. And inside the backpack, they had blankets, waters, food,
Wow.
all sorts of, I mean, just like sent from heaven, emergency blankets, rations. And they used it for over 15 hours to try and stay warm. They used those blankets. The backpack was left there by a 15-year-old who had been rescued a month earlier. Same area of the park. He also got lost, and he had the rations and such, but he was rescued, and so he left the backpack just in case it ever happened again.
Whoa.
How impressive was that?
I have two thoughts.
Yeah.
One, Kelly, as a father of two teenagers,
Yes.
your son is almost 20 now, yes?
Yeah, I'll be 20 in a month. That's right.
How about that?
Yes, that's right.
But had he been that 15-year-old boy, I'm sure you would have wept when he was rescued
Yes.
from the mountainous hiking region.
Yeah.
And then you would have yelled, "Where's your GD backpack?
Of course I would
Do
have
you
said,
know how much we spent on that?
Where's your
Oh,
backpack?
yeah, definitely.
The first thing I thought was, I just throwing away money there, son.
Perfect good North Face.
That's a great
Uh-huh.
backpack. And plus it's full of waters and
Yeah.
blankets.
You left it full?
That blanket was expensive.
That's why, you know, I love an Afghan. You know that.
Yeah, Daddy's always cold.
Exactly. This is the teenager.
I'm insanely grateful that it could help them. That's what the backpack was intended for, was to help someone. I just thought that someone would be me.
And it was
I
somebody.
told you your son will let you go packing.
I suppose the good news is that the father and son who were lost more recently, didn't just happen upon a hiker and kill him. They're not going to find him in the spring thaw.
Right. Geez, that's good.
Looks like they ripped the backpack right off him, Chief.
That's right. It's good they talked to the
See
teenager.
the
who-
strap marks.
Yeah, it's a great point. Would they? Of course, if they found my backpack, all it would be full of his weights, because that's what I do. I ruck.
Yeah, he rucks.
I'm-
Do you ruck?
Not yet, but I will.
Did you make any purchases while sitting in the green room?
No, I'm not rucking yet. I will ruck in the spring. I've already made that decision. And in spring, that's right. In spring,
Well,
I'll
write
be
it down so we can do this day in history.
I'll,
In this day in history, one DJ promised to rock, but he never did. He just talked about Rucking nonstop.
We're more likely to get flying cars before Kelly Rooks.
There will be
The other two members of the show were inundated with emails about Rucking.
Oh,
Tell Kelly this.
Yeah.
I shall ruck by the end of the year. By the end of spring, I shall ruck.
You know, at our comedy show Saturday night, somebody came up and they said, I want you to tell Kelly. And I said, don't. He's right over there.
Right there.
I said, you walk over there and you tell him.
But he's hiding in the green room.
I know it's tough to get back.
Yeah.
Some guy ducked his head and I said, get the hell out of here.
I saw that guy.
See that guy?
He goes, what goes on in here? And you just started going in about that few minutes
Out,
later.
Get him out. Get him out. I don't want to see anybody. This is a private green room.
Officer.
Yeah.
The Statesville police were on top of it.
They were.
Were they not?
Yes. The officer.
They had like 5 officers
they did.
outside the green room.
They knew.
Yeah.
Rowdy crowd. Rowdy crowd. One of them said, can we get a picture? I said, absolutely not. I know I'm in the green room. That's it.
This is private.
That's what I do.
This is a sanctuary.
Thank you. It's a green room for a reason.